The relationship between the NHS and the private companies here in the UK is a topic which sparks fierce debates. Not many people want to talk about this, but I do. On one hand, we have people who claim this will lead to full privatization of the NHS. On the other hand, we have people claiming without private companies' involvement, the NHS in the current form will not survive. Can we find a middle ground? Can this actually be done, or what can be done in order to save the NHS? Not many people know, but right now, in the UK, in London, there are already public-private partnerships between the NHS and private companies, and normally they work something like 49% ownership by the private company and 51% ownership by the NHS. It has been going on for years, and it works. Question is, can we actually scale it? Can we actually build it up and trust that private companies will stay as a minority shareholder and we as patients and people will remain in control? Let's think about this. In recent years, we've seen a rise in public-private partnerships within the NHS. These collaborations have led to things like private companies handling logistics and supply chains, private firms offering specialist services like diagnostics and imaging, and private hospitals and clinics supporting the NHS with the overflow of patients. Well, we saw it very clearly working well in the pandemic times, right? Now, the case against privatization is as follows. 1. Access and equality. The NHS has always been built on the foundation of universal access to healthcare. The fear is that private companies get more control and there could be a race in two-tier care. People who have money will get help. People who has less money or no money will not get help. 2. It's profit over patients. With private companies involved, there's a natural concern that profits might take priority over patient care. None of us will want to end up being another America where you are going to be charged tens of thousands of pounds for a minor surgery. It will basically bankrupt us, right? This is a very serious risk. We have to be worried about it. We need to think about this. And the third point is loss of public control. The idea of the NHS being privatized bit by bit is a major worry. People fear that this could lead to reduced accountability and the system no longer serves the public best interest, but instead the interest of shareholders. Again, I can see the point. Let's not forget that the main reason for any company to exist is to make money. It's not to help, it's not to solve problems. You can do that as a charity or free of charge. Business is there to make money. So yes, there is a concern. On the other side, we have people who claim that without private companies' involvement, the NHS is not going to make it. Point number 1 is sustainability and efficiency. The NHS is facing increased demand with limited resources, and the private sector can step in and increase efficiency and help manage the backlog of patients. This has been proved. It can work already. We've done it back in the 2020, 2021, 2023, where there was a pandemic. 2 is innovation and technology. The private sector often leads in innovation and development of cutting-edge technologies, and I can confirm myself as an entrepreneur and heavily involved in innovation, it's much easier, much faster to work with the private sector to innovate, to introduce some innovations and technology rather than the NHS, which is a huge organization, risk-averse, and everything takes forever. Especially now when the tech is evolving so much, so fast, we don't have time anymore to just, follow the processes from 50 years ago. And third is relieving strain on the NHS staff. And I know this from my personal experience, working with professionals on both ends are under extreme pressure. The reality is, lots of doctors and professionals would rather leave that world behind them, but they have mission. They're there in the NHS for us, the patient. They could just as well quit and move to private sector when they would make more money and have better lifestyle. Thank you so much for staying in the NHS, but let's not forget these guys, these people helping us and looking after our health. Then they need to be listened to. We need to do something fast because they can't stay in this pressure forever. So is there a middle ground? Yes and no. The balance can be found, but the key would have to be, in my opinion, carefully regulated partnerships where public interest remains a priority. In order to keep public interest priority, we're gonna have to make public aware of any changes of plans and what is really happening, both problems and solutions. Right now, I don't see anyone openly talking about problem solution unless we have elections coming, and then we have both sides or three sides, however sides are involved, throwing dirt on each other and promising everything is going to be sorted. Then after election we go back to normal, nothing's being done. The only solution for me, in my opinion, for the NHS and private companies work together is to actually make us, patients, citizens, aware of problem, present a solution, and let us see. We need a transparency, and it can be done in today's world with technology, of how that solution is being applied to a problem. So we can keep control of either one of two sides going a little bit left or right, taking too much money, taking too much ownership, or not solving problems at all. I hope you liked this episode. Thanks so much. I hope it wasn't too long. I'll see you next week, Thursday. Cheers.